You're listening to the Spotless Podcast, where cleanliness is always next to potliness. Now, here are your hosts, Hanna Brooks Olson and Andrew Walsh.
My, Andrew. So first of all, I have to, if you're watching this on YouTube, do you watch these on YouTube? You can, you know. I'm pretty sure my mom is the only person who does. But if you are, and you see my appearance right now, if my eyes are like red and glassy, it's not because I was, as the kids say, gardening before the show. It is because...
Is that smoking weed?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It's part of the TikTok language brain rot of trying to work around the censors and the fact that TikTok is functionally state-run media at this point. But I have been having the worst allergies in my eyes.
Ugh.
My eyes have been on fuego recently, and it makes me look like I am just I have glassy eyes all the time. So I'm
well, I can't notice.
Okay,
I can't notice on the camera. You have some pretty dramatic lighting going on. Your hair looks on point, by the way. Good job on that. Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, it's very dark. I mean, we've entered the big dark. We've gone through daylight saving time. So of course now the Pacific Northwest is just in semi-twilight at all times. So yeah, the lighting is getting more and more dramatic the deeper into the season we go.
What are you allergic to?
I don't know. This is the problem. I don't know. It has happened twice since we moved back to Oregon, just two separate times. I think at different times of year, where my eyes just go bananas, and I get really photosensitive. I can't go outside, and then I squint a lot, and then that gives me migraine. It's a whole vicious
I'm
cycle.
sorry, man.
But it's good. But I just am I know that I've been going through the world with half-lidded eyes, and I already have kind of squinty looking eyes anyway. So
that's what somebody described me one time, a former program director, when I was hosting on a radio station. He said, I don't know, he was talking about my energy or something, and he said something about how I'm always talking through squinted eyes. And I was like, I did not realize that I was doing that. But I think he had me pegged as a stoner or something anyway in his more jock-centric mind. Having said all of that, just hold on. I need to talk about something because I had a realization, speaking of the YouTubiness of this all. You and I haven't really fully addressed this, but I have to have a certain kind of trust in you that I've never had to have in another person before, and I'm being serious about this.
Okay.
Because in almost every podcasting endeavor that I'm a part of, I'm the person who kind of makes the final edits, who, puts the show out into the universe, however it's going out there. And since we've been putting this on YouTube, that's been a Hanna Brooks Olson project, the YouTube aspect of this. And I think one time, maybe early on, I was watching one and I realized you got a little cheeky. And I don't remember actually the details on this, but you decided to include maybe some of the preamble, maybe some of my gesticulations during the lead up to us doing the intro. I don't know what it was. And just now, as we started this show that folks are listening to right now, I had a little miscue with my audio, and you and I were making faces down the line about it, and then we got it straight, and then that kind of got in my head because none of that would be an issue for me because I'm going to be producing the audio. I'm just going to cut that out. It's gone. But I need to trust that you're not going to get all cheeky and use that to start the show.
I wouldn't, and the only reason I wouldn't is because I'm very lazy, and it's much easier for me to find where in the video we actually start and just cut the rest.
Okay, good.
If I were less lazy, I would have a lot of material.
Okay.
But
all right, let's just keep that
true.
out.
It is true, especially because doing the video, it is a different beast. Putting this in, visually.
And we are trying to do it all in one take, which is kind of my general vibe, generally speaking, when I'm doing podcasts anyway. But it's one of those things where, well, if you make a little stumble here, a little stumble there, I can put a little marker in my recording, and I do very little cleanup here and there. But with the video thing now, because you and I are both editing these things separately, basically we have to do this live to tape. And so any mistakes are probably going to be baked in there, or you're going to have an editing nightmare in your hands, which reminds me, I'm expecting a package to arrive here at any moment. I don't know if that's going to happen and mess up today's recording as well. Maybe we'll just leave it all in. You can watch me get up like an old man from my chair and hobble over to the basement door. If the
Talk to
FedEx
Bingo on the way.
Yes, you caught me in a hot mic moment with my cat earlier. We haven't even talked about that. I'm glad.
We're having a real normal one over here. Things
We
are
really
going great for us.
All right.
right
Well,
now.
so you don't think that your allergies have anything to do with cleaning related, though? Anything cleaning related?
No, I tried to do some cleaning stuff. Like I washed the sheets and I vacuumed the mattress and washed all the pillows and vacuumed under the bed and did some things to try and reduce allergens in the house. I checked the filter on our heater and all that kind of and it's not.
Oh yeah, and you have an air purifier too, or two of them, I think.
We did. Yeah, we don't have an air purifier going right now. We have had one, and then the filter situation was just untenable. We've never had good luck. I feel like Keith went through a period of time where he procured us numerous air purifiers, and none of them have been very the duration of their functionality is subpar. We do have the Dyson air purifier, the big one that goes like that. But the problem is you have to get the special Dyson filter for it. And it is just, it becomes not a priority after a while if you're not actively dying with every breath.
Right. I saw an air purifier on a little table full of free stuff in the neighborhood this summer at one point, and I was tempted to grab it. It was a small guy. If I recall, it was something about the size of well, this isn't going to be relatable to anybody, but I remember thinking it was about the size of Bingo, my cat's water fountain. So a small little thing that is maybe, let's say it's the shape of a Yankee candle if a Yankee candle was 3 times bigger.
Okay.
I feel like there's got to be a better way of describing this, but just a stout little cylinder, right?
Yeah.
And I've never had an air purifier before, and I'm not somebody who's too good to take free things off of a table. I think you know this about me. I love garage sales and finding stuff that way. But as I stood here on a hot summer day, a few blocks from my house, staring down at this little table full of really a lot of junk,
Yes.
and just thinking, if I'm getting an air purifier, not to be wasteful and not to be disrespectful to Mother Earth, but I think I can just buy a new one. I know reusing is important, but I feel like my first air purifier that I bring into my home shouldn't be something that I got to block off of Aurora on a free table.
Yeah, and the thing is, too, then you're sort of never really sure if something goes wrong with it. Is it because you got it off a table, in an area of town that some people might consider less savory?
Yes.
Of
course, it was doing well until I moved in, I will say. Now it's less savory because
brought down property values.
There's some dude going around drinking 24-ounce twisted teas in the neighborhood and smoking dope on that walking
bridge. You're the only
bridge.
one. Come on now.
You know my favorite weed-smoking bridge, right? That walking bridge over Aurora.
It's a great one.
I swear, it's the best place to hang out in Seattle. But anyway, well, we do actually have a really packed show today on a theme that I think you came up with and asked listeners to participate in, which is cleaning stuff that is very specific to one's occupation. It all started, as we recapped last week, when you were at a tattoo shop and some tattoo ink spilled all over the place, and you were interested in how the professionals there went about cleaning this up because it wasn't their first rodeo. And that got you thinking, what are the specific things that people are doing in their jobs that the rest of us wouldn't know about because we don't have those jobs? And so we got some really great responses on that that we're going to go through today. Also, if time permits, I had another email from someone about cleaning up after someone in your life passes away and the sort of struggles with that. And so we want to share that. But I wanted to start today, Hannah. Oh, by the way, I'll give out the phone number. Why? Somebody in the TikTok said that I watched yesterday, I was gate-kept once and I didn't like it, so I'm not going to gatekeep for you. Here is our phone number, 508-469-9274. That's 508-HOW-WASH. Spread it around. You don't need to be gatekeeping that. 508-HOW-WASH. Or you can email us a voice memo, spotlesspod@gmail.com. As Hannah said, you can check us out on YouTube. Look for Spotless Pod, Instagram, Spotless Pod, and the website, spotlesspod.com. And I've been threatening you with an article that somebody sent in. One of our scrub jockeys, Nancy, sent this in with the subject line, associate producer credit. Now, I love anybody who's going after an associate producer credit. That is somebody who is after my own heart. And Nancy says, I love the pod. When this article popped up, when I apparently hit something I didn't know I hit, I knew it was for you, thinking it might be an episode to have in your back pocket for one of those times you might need an idea. I hope it's helpful. Well, it is helpful, and I want to share it with you, Hannah. I put in big, bold letters on the show sheet, Hannah, don't look at this in advance. I wanted to spring this on you on the show, okay?
Okay.
And the article is from Southern Living magazine.
Okay.
And it is 7 things people who always have a clean home never do. Okay. So 7 things. And this is what I really love. And by the way, Nancy, totally getting associate producer credit here. 100%. If I make fun of this article at all, I'm not making fun of you. I'm really glad you sent this. But it is one of those things where I'm already tripped up on the double negatives.
Yes, thank you.
7
Yes.
things. How about just 7 things people do? 7 things clean people do. How about 7 things people who always have a clean home never do? And as we get into this, I think they're going to be twisting things around in a way that is so difficult to follow.
I mean, they're setting up immediately the premise. They're setting themselves up for failure, right? Because if you want to say like the habits that clean people don't have, you now have to remember that this is a list. This is a list of poor habits, right? Or this is a list of
that's a good way of putting it.
That could lead your home to be messier than you might like. If you personally practice these habits, reconsider them.
Yes, I think that's a good way of putting it. You've nailed it. Yes.
But
if somebody were to come over to your house,
if
somebody were to come up into your house and they would say, Hannah, your home is so inviting and clean, and you would say yes, because there are certain things I never do.
Right.
And now you haven't seen this list. What do you think is one of those things you've never done or a clean person never does?
Well, I can tell you some of the ones that the rules I know for a fact that I break that other people don't. So I do not make the bed every day. I don't care about making the bed. I don't give a shit about a made bed. I guarantee you they're going to say make your bed every day, because this is the kind of thing, like make your bed every day is the kind of low-hanging, tidying up fruit that listicles like this love.
Hannah, do you see what this is right here?
Yeah.
It's a bell. You absolutely nailed it. That is number 3 on the list, although I don't think that these are in any particular order. Leave beds unmade. And again, this is where I have to, every time I read the subheader, I'd be like, wait, leave beds unmade. These are things you don't do. If you...
Don't leave beds unmade.
It couldn't just be 7 things clean people do, which is make the beds. It has to be 7 things they don't do. Okay, leave beds unmade. A good host knows that the home is ideally ready for guests anytime, just in the rare case of a stop-by visit. I will say, I do everything in my life to avoid stop-by visits, like unannounced pop-ins, yet I live my life like anybody could pop in, like that the king or queen could hop. I don't know of what, by the way, when I say king and queen, but like I'm always ready for somebody to pop in at any moment. I'm like, oh my God, if they came in and saw this bed unmade, I would be so embarrassed.
I mean, when people come over to our house, if they're unannounced, I just shut the bedroom door. Don't go in my bedroom. Now, okay, let me scale it back. When I used to live in a studio and literally everything I owned was in eyesight when you walked in the front door because the bed and the kitchen were in the same room, then I made the bed because it was the only piece of furniture in the room practically. Now that I have a separate room for my bed that does not share space with my microwave, I don't care as much and I will just shut the door.
Yeah,
now, the
just
guest
close the
bed,
door.
If someone is coming over and staying in our guest room, in our guest bed, obviously that bed is not only going to be made, it's going to be freshly laundered before they come. That is part of someone coming to stay with us. The bed will be freshly laundered, even if nobody slept in it between the last time someone came over to stay and now, because somebody has slept on it and it's Lola the dog.
Oh, okay. So I misunderstood. I was going to actually ask for clarification. I thought you meant, okay, the usual thing is somebody comes over, maybe folks come over for a weekend, then they leave. You obviously launder all the stuff right then and there. They leave. You put the bed back together. Now it's like, say, 2 months later. I don't know the frequency.
I'm going to redo it before somebody.
Even though nobody, mostly because of the dog, and you're not just doing the top level.
No, I'll remake. I mean, we have enough sets of sheets that I can just like strip it, put the clean sheets from the cupboard on, and then get around to the other sheets whenever. Like it's not.
Even though if those bottom sheets have not been touched by anybody, they've been covered by
the dog's been rooting around on the bed. She hangs out on the.
She'll get underneath and stuff.
She will.
Oh,
and
okay.
She pushes the pillows around.
Oh, okay.
She really has her way with the bed. And I think this is actually why I got out of the habit of making a bed regularly is because our previous dog, our little dog, he would get Lola doesn't get all the way in the covers. She's mostly on top of the covers, but she'll push the pillows around to where she likes them. And so sometimes the sheets get rumpled. But Indy would go all the way in the bed. Like you would lose him in the bed. You'd have to look around for him in the bed. And
I
so
love that. Lumping it up. That's what we used to call it when Professor Bananas would do it. You just see a lump and be like, that lump is my cat.
I need to not sit there.
Yes.
So making the bed, I know for some people it makes them feel really good. Like, oh, the bed is made. Like that's one of their, I don't know. That's just how if they feel cleaner when the bed is made. That's just not one of my things.
Yeah, I think it is one of my things, but I can't.
Are you a made bed person?
Well, definitely now, and I think I would be anyway, but I'm really trying to figure out. I'm trying to remember here. That might be a bit of a Genevieve influence, although I find it hard to believe that if I had never met Genevieve, and let's just say that I'd never partnered up at all, and I'd just been like living by myself all this time, I still think by age 49, I'd still be you make the bed every day. Because I actually don't there are some days where I wake up too late. Genevieve gets up, goes to work. I wake up too late. I rush downstairs. I get ready for work. I do my work. And then I come back up in the middle of the day, middle of the afternoon, and I forgot that I hadn't made the bed. And I just passed the bedroom doorway. And I'm like, ugh. Like, it does give me a bad feeling to see that. But I do think that I might get that from Genevieve, who is not traditionally the cleaner half of this relationship. I think that when we first dated, she's just like, it was really ingrained in her that like making a bed is a very small thing you can do that makes a bigger difference, if that makes sense. It has a huge difference.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a lot of people like that who aren't necessarily clean people and whose houses are maybe not that tidy, but who do get up and make the bed every day.
Yeah.
So I don't know that these two things are necessarily correlated, but I think, if it makes you feel good to make your bed, cool. I'll do it when I'm like, if I am vacuuming or whatever and I go into the bedroom, I will shake the bed out and make it so that then I'm vacuuming after that, But otherwise, I don't know. It doesn't stress me out that much.
So you definitely got one of the 7 things people who always have a clean home never do. Do you have any other ideas?
Keep their shoes on in the house? Or do we have anything about shoes on in the house?
Oh, that's interesting. I am looking, and no, that is not on there. Okay. But it does remind me of something related to bed making that I was going to ask you a moment ago. You know who Phoebe Robinson is, right?
Yes.
She's a comedian, podcaster, Two Dope Queens, which I think I learned recently because I heard her as a guest on another podcast. I think she's making the rounds. I heard her on 2 podcasts recently for some new project, which I'm blanking on. But also, they weren't mentioning Two Dope Queens, so I think that podcast might be done or maybe on hiatus or something. Has it been gone for a while? I didn't realize. I wasn't a regular listener, but hearing her in these 2 interviews, I'm just like, man, I really want to kind of go back and explore more of her catalog because she's great.
She's so good, yeah.
But she writes essays too, I think, and she was telling one of the hosts what some of her books of essays are called, and one of them was something called Don't Sit on My Bed in Your Outside Clothes. Do you know this actual collection? So you're deep into her stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that is one. I think there is a cultural divide about outside clothes on the bed. So so we do not have time to go into the myriad ways that cleanliness has been weaponized against marginalized communities, and the way that cleanliness is used as a dog whistle. Like, there's so much to this. But I do think there's a cultural difference in with like outside clothes on the bed. shoes on in the house, right? These are things that like, and by and large, and I say this as a mostly white individual, white people are so gross. Like culturally, white people are not good at being like actually clean. Like they're more likely to wear their shoes in the house. They're more likely to, like practice habits that other people find pretty unsanitary. Like this is just a thing. I, however, though, because I have, maybe this comes from living in a single room and having my bed be my only furniture. But for me, the idea of not sitting on my bed in my outside clothes is like it doesn't even cross my mind. But I do know that this is a thing for some people.
Yeah. I had a dental assistant. I'm blanking on the name of what you call the person who like cleans your teeth. The hygienist, yeah. And she cleaned my teeth a couple of times, and I love my dentist, by the way. I've been going to the same dentist for years and years and years now, but they'll cycle through various folks, right? And I had this woman maybe 3 times tops, but she was a character. But she was also one of those characters who kind of knew she was a character a little bit, but she was like rat-a-tat talking the whole time. I might have told you about her before. She's the one who offered to let me smell her armpit during a session. I did not tell you about this.
No, this is
so, and
new.
this might have even been the same conversation that I'm bringing this up to illustrate. But we were talking about cleanliness. She was a woman. She was an Asian woman who's probably significantly younger than me, I'm going to guess. And we were talking, I don't know, we were making small talk, and I might have brought up this actual podcast. This is years ago now about cleaning, and she was talking about what a clean person she is. And then, as would usually happen, we started sort of trading notes, or at least she wanted to trade notes on it. But all the things that were like hallmarks to her of keeping a clean home were not things that I followed, which is exactly this: the outside clothes thing, the shoes. Like I'm a big shoes on in the house person, especially if people are visiting or if I'm visiting somebody else. I would like to keep my shoes on. And she just doesn't understand that. She's like, well, you're not a clean person. You're not. Oh, the armpit smelling thing, just to quickly put a cap on the. She said, there's a certain gene that some Asian people have that decreases like any kind of body odor or anything about that. I don't know if you've heard about this. I had heard of it before. I think I'd read something about it. And she was telling me that she has this gene or doesn't have the gene. Sure. As Southern Living said, the 7 things that people who don't smell don't have in their genes. But anyway, she's like, no, I don't smell. I don't. She's like, do you want to smell? You can smell my armpit right now. I'm like, I am good, lady.
I'm good. Yeah.
I am good. She had a lot of energy. Sweet person, a lot of energy. But she was the first person who, like, aside from just being surprised that I don't take my shoes off in the house, but she's like, no. Like my boyfriend, or maybe she was dating at the time. If somebody comes over, like I make sure that they're not wearing their outside clothes, or like she was very strict. No, I think she maybe had a husband or a boyfriend maybe at the time. Hey, Lola, and was saying that like. She has rules for this guy to have to come home from work, and like he didn't have a particularly, dirty job, office job or something like that, but he had to change his clothes when he came into her house.
Yeah, because it's outside. Yeah, there's a lot of. I mean, the difference between what's in your home and outside of your home, and how that factors into cleanliness. I think I think there's a lot of cultural differences there. And, I grew up borderline feral with all of our doors and windows open at all times and just running around. And we just didn't wear shoes at all. And so I would venture to say that our outside feet were literally the feet attached to our bodies.
Yeah, right. Yes.
So that's just a thing. And so I think some of this is personal taste, but I'm a little surprised that shoes on didn't come up in this list. If I were to guess other things that were on this list.
Please, yes.
Dishes in the sink. I bet
yes, I believe that is number 1 on the list. It says, leave dirty dishes in the sink. The kitchen is the heart of the home. Did you know that the kitchen is the heart of the home?
Whatever.
And if it is a mess, then the home will feel like a mess. Now, this is a big one for me. Like even just before we dialed up, I realized there were some dishes in the sink from like breakfast or something that I didn't get around to. And I was like, dishes in the sink are almost like a compulsion to me. I don't think I'm saying that word right. Compulsion? How do you say that word?
Like
compulsion.
Compulsion.
But like that really does make me feel dirty if I have dishes in my sink.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, we will leave dishes in the sink during the day, but at the end of the night, they're going in the dishwasher or something is happening with them.
Yeah.
And, like, throughout the day, we'll both kind of empty the sink as it goes. A lot of times, I do try and put dishes directly into the dishwasher, and it does depend on if you have a dishwasher or not. Again, I lived a life with no dishwasher for many years, and that's definitely a bigger challenge. There are plenty of times where you just don't feel like washing your goddamn dish at the exact moment you finished eating, which is fair. But I would say by and large, at night before bedtime, the sink is cleared. Because
you certainly wake up, you don't want to see dishes in the sink.
And it's just too easy to let them pile, it just is too easy to feel overwhelmed, I think. And so if you're every day you're cycling them through, it feels less overwhelming. The hardest part, though, is when you have washed the dishes, they are clean in the dishwasher, and then you don't want to have to put them away, like putting them away so you can reload the dishwasher. That's the little piece of limbo that I really get stuck in sometimes.
Because they have water in them still.
And
you can't put them directly in the cupboard.
And I just don't want. There's just something about like having to unload the dishwasher. I feel like I unload the dishwasher every other day, and it just feels like I'm in a constant state of unloading the dishwasher. And that's like one of my like house chores generally, because we have divided chores so that we don't have the chore stalemate where you're staring at one another wondering who's going to do it, which I feel like in relationships, like the idea of having like a list of chores that are up to you or that you own it feels kind of weird, and it feels a little like, I don't know, diminutive or something. But knowing that taking out the trash is never my job is a great relief for me. Like I don't deal with that. That's not part of what I do. And for the most part, emptying the dishwasher is on me. Except if we've been very good kids and we have eaten at home and not eaten out a lot, and I've been cooking a lot, then that does mean that there are more dishes to be unloaded. And then every now and then Keith will just do it, which always warms my... When I come home and he's unloaded the clean dishes, I'm like, oh my God, like, oh.
Does he know that?
Yes.
That's nice.
And he'll do it also just to get the dishes out of the sink too, right? Like if the dishes are clean in the dishwasher, he'll unload it so he can reload it because he doesn't want dishes in the sink. So, but yes, I think having someone step one, have a partner who cares enough to take good care of your home, regardless of whose job it is, right? Like that's, not everybody has that. And then step two, be very clear about what your expectations are. But dishes in the sink, I think, is one. What else? I'm going to give you, keep thinking. I'm going to give you a couple here that, again, in the sort of tortured language of the list, I don't think you'll ever get, which one of them is wait for cleaning day. So don't have a specific cleaning day and then wait for cleaning day. It says here, the demise of a once clean home is letting it slowly accumulate and clutter all week long until a grand, quote-unquote, cleaning day to handle it all at once. Naturally tidy people know that doing small tasks all week long is ultimately the key to keeping a clean home. I think it's a weird submission on the list, but it is something. Again, I think it suffers from the backwards nature of this list. It should just be 7 good habits, and the habit should be stay on top of things, is what we're saying here. Yes. Yeah. I mean, clean. This mostly just falls into the category of clean as you go. Clean things as they need to be cleaned. Yesterday, I was procrastinating going for a run because I just didn't want to, but I had it on my list, and I was like, nope, today's the day. Like, this is what's on the plan. And so I was standing around in the kitchen, and so to procrastinate, I wiped down all the counters because they looked like they needed it. And it took me 2 seconds. It was very easy to do, and I had sort of been I hadn't been putting off doing it. I just didn't do it. And then as I was standing there putting off something else, I was like, oh, might as well do the counters while I'm here. And like, that's the kind of thing you can do to stay on top of cleaning generally, is to not, I guess set yourself a specific day. Sunday's the day when I do this. I, clean the counters, I do whatever. I do have days where I know I have a lot of time, and that becomes a cleaning day because that's when I have time to do all those chores. That's the time when I go through and wash the towels and, clean the bathroom sink and everything specifically. But if it's yucky in between, then take the 2 seconds to like wipe the mirror down, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know that I ever have a cleaning day. There are some weeks where I'm like, oh my God, I need to tackle this cleaning project, and I'm planning on doing it this Saturday. In the same way, you might say, hey, this Saturday is going to be nice. I definitely have to do the lawn on Saturday. But for the most part, I'm either just tidying up all the time, but then also that whole thing that you and I talk about a lot where you start pulling at a thread. You just go to do one little task and then, well, if I'm going to do this task. I mean, you kind of just hit at it with like, well, I got to put these dishes in the dishwasher. Well, the dishwasher is clean, so I need to empty the dishwasher. Well, if I'm going to empty the dishwasher, I need to, you know, maybe you're just like, well, these shelves are kind of gross. And then like sometimes you can find yourself pulling on that thread. In fact, I wanted to tell you very briefly, because I don't think I mentioned this in our last show. I had the ultimate thread pulling situation a couple of Saturdays ago. Wait, did I tell you? I feel like maybe I already told you this. I told somebody this because it happened after my trip to the bar. I was at the Eagles Club with Genevieve. Did I tell you about this?
I don't think so.
So I left earlier. It was probably about, like 10:30, maybe at latest 11 o'clock at night. A buddy drove me home. Genevieve stayed out. It was kind of, I think there's Halloween goings on at the club at the time. And so Genevieve stayed out later, and I came home. And so let's say it's 10:30 or 11 o'clock at night. And I came home and I forgot that I bought some produce earlier in the day, and it was still sitting out on the counter. I think when I buy produce, what I like to do is rinse it off right away and then let it sit on the counter to fully dry. And when I'm talking about produce, it might be like a little thing of strawberries or blueberries, and then for vegetables, like I had celery and carrots, I think. And so the carrots I had cleaned off. I just put them in a bag as is. The celery, though, I cut the butt off of it and I cut the ends off, and then I'm going to take these things, instead of composting them, I think, okay, well, I'll just put these in the bag I have in the freezer. That's going to be my next stock bag, right? And it's got a bunch of ends of onions and little bits of carrots and celery or whatever. So I'm like, okay. And again, just keep in mind, all I wanted to do, Hannah, was after the bar, put the celery away.
Yeah.
I cut the celery. I go to put it in the bag. The bag is almost overflowing at this point, and with vegetable matter.
So you're ready.
Like, well,
you're ready to get a soup going here.
Maybe I should make some stock right now. And it's like, well, I'm not going to make stock right now. I still have tons of stock in the freezer downstairs from the last time I made stock, because when I make it, I always go overboard. And so then I'm like, well, I guess I could use up the stock. So I come downstairs to the basement, I grab all of the stock containers that I have in these reusable soup containers. I bring them upstairs, and I'm looking at them. Like, well, I could make some soup right now. I'm like, do you have any matzo ball mix? And then I find some matzo ball mix.
Oh,
so the next thing you know, I'm cutting up celery and onion. For matzo ball soup, I'm just taking my stock, turning it into basically chicken soup, basically, by, sauteing up some vegetables and stuff for it. I'm trying to think. I started preparing. I think I grabbed some chicken out of the freezer to start defrosting that in case I wanted to add some chicken to it. I'm now making matzo balls in my kitchen. I'm like, well, I need to get rid of the stock so I can make more stock. And next thing you know, Genevieve comes home. It's like 1 o'clock, 1:30 in the morning, and I'm just finishing making matzo ball soup, or midnight matzo, as I now like to call it. And I was just like, this all happened because I didn't know what to do with the end of a piece of celery. This was never the plan. I was supposed to come home and play a video game or something. But
well, you did play a
sometimes
video
it just
game,
takes
except
over.
You just made soup, and that's the game you played.
I will say,
Midnight Matzo.
My real life puttering around the house, especially in the wintertime, as I think puttering is going to become even more like localized to inside the house.
Yes.
It is very much like me playing Minecraft, because like I still like to play Minecraft, but Minecraft is always like, well, I need carrots. Well, if you're going to make carrots, you got to plant the carrot seeds. And you can plant the carrot seeds. Well, you got to feed the pigs, and you got to feed the pigs. Now there's too many pigs. Got to slaughter some pigs. Got to get some pork. Sorry, it's sad. But anyway, I'm just kind of like, oh yeah, I think I just played Minecraft for the past 2 hours. Only it was in my kitchen.
Yeah, or like Harvest Moon or whatever,
What is that?
Whatever. What's the one that was like? It used to be called Harvest Moon, but then the newer version is Stardew Valley.
And Keith, Stardew Valley. Yes, you and
like
Keith were trying to get me into that.
Yeah,
yes,
it's like a farming game. Yes,
exactly
and you
similar.
have to do all those things. Yeah, I have a couple of those projects that I need to get to probably today or tomorrow. I have, I carved a pumpkin earlier this week, and so I roasted pumpkin seeds, and then I have the pumpkin like innards that I'm gonna puree and freeze, and so I have a lot
for soup,
and also to feed the dog if she gets backed up.
Really? So dogs like you defrost it and you just let her eat it as is, or
yes,
you make it into something else?
Will just eat. So she ate some of the pumpkin guts while I was carving it. She was very into it.
Just give
and
little
then-
bits to her.
Yeah, but it's very high in fiber. So this is if you have a dog and they're having some constipation issues, feeding them pumpkin, like canned pumpkin, is a very common way to help them sort of get things going. Yeah. And so I'm going to make some and freeze it so that I have it.
I see. But you have to be careful when she's not backed up because then that can get things going too fast.
Yeah. Or just a lot. Just a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I have some of those chores to do too. So that's yeah. I think having a cleaning day, I mean, I get it. And especially if it's when you have time, you know, a lot of people like do their big cleans on the weekend. But I don't think I would ever be like, well, I'm going to clean in a few days anyway, so I won't do it now. Like if it's bothering me, I'm going to do it now.
Exactly.
Which I think is perhaps, I guess that's what they're saying, is that like you just do it when you see the need.
Yeah.
So I guess that's a habit to get into.
It just sort of seems like that's one of those things that sort of, it really just depends on the person. You know what I mean? Like this list is probably
And
for
the
people like you and I
household and, like-
who are already like kind of compelled to do these things.
Yeah.
But if you're not, then maybe actually there's a list that says actually put a day on your calendar, do this on this day.
Right.
Because some people are more routinized. And if they're not like you and I, where they just automatically start doing it, then you do need it on the calendar. I feel like that one is very subjective. How about another one here that is sort of a weird construction, I think, which is forget a smell check. So clean people do not forget a smell check. Southern Living Magazine, another thing that most impressively tidy homes have in common, ? They tend to smell good, as in compliment-worthy good. At the baseline, that means making sure not to let the trash can overflow and instead taking it out often, as well as ensuring spots like your trash can, sink disposal, or fridge are free of any mystery odors. But the real trick is in the finishers. A lit candle, a spritz of home spray. Ooh, home spray. I like that more than air freshener. Fresh flowers, house plants, and freshly cleaned counters. So I do all of those little things, but the list has it as don't forget a smell check.
Okay, wait. I'm hung up on. So I know that houseplants theoretically help like purify the air, but also having houseplants in your home can bring with it its own like odor and stuff, right? Like
I guess depending.
Yeah, and especially like if you live in the Northwest and things are just like low key damp at all times, like my houseplants definitely will get that little like layer of mold sometimes, and I have to go through and treat them. So I don't think having houseplants is necessarily correlated to having a good smelling house.
I'd never made that connection before. I liked that they said fresh flowers make sense, but again, only to a degree.
Until they start to smell like icky old flower. Like you got to keep them fresh. That's
right.
Like you got a turnover situation there.
Exactly. And then, but I didn't know about houseplants. But I mean, I guess plants do sort of recycle the air. I like the idea of that.
Yeah. I don't know that has a big impact on one's house. I mean, I've been in people's homes that did not smell great and they had houseplants, so I don't know about that. But I mean, but again, that also depends on if you like your house to be artificially scented. And by artificial, I mean like adding an additional scent, not like what kind of scent you're using. A lot of people don't like the smell of a candle. They don't like home spray. A lot of people, that's not what smells good to them. So I don't think that that's necessarily always the case. And I also know that there's plenty of times when you're using that kind of thing to cover up an unpleasant smell and you're not actually like getting to the root of it. I think the bigger issue with lingering smells in people's homes usually have to do with places that trap them. So curtains, furniture, rugs, carpeting, the walls even, like if you've been in a house of like a longtime smoker and you know that smell is just in the walls. And so I think the lighting the candle at the end is perhaps less important for the overall cleanliness of your home than like making sure your window treatments are clean, taking the the hot water extractor to your couch every now and then and to the rug, and vacuuming often, and just making sure that you're not letting unpleasant smells like settle into the textiles.
especially with pets.
Especially
All right,
with pets.
I'm gonna zip through a couple of these. Another thing is let papers pile up on surfaces. I agree with that. It says if you quickly scan your eye over a tidy home, you'll almost never see a stray stack of papers, mail, bills, old receipts. The quickest thing to build up and make a surface. Look cluttered, and I agree with that. Like, and that's one thing that I feel like happens a lot in our house, and I'm constantly, in a certain way, Genevieve will have something that will, like, it'll just be one thing that lays there, but then it'll collect another thing, and then it's like, well, it was just a hat, but now it's a hat and gloves, and my bag is going, and then, like, next thing you know, the entire front table will be covered in stuff. So I'm constantly, like, kind of moving things into her little piles. There's also a room in our house that I just don't go in anymore. It's like just Genevieve's room, and so I just put stuff in there because it's just like I see it happening. You know, I just see these little piles become bigger and bigger piles if you don't stay on top of them.
Yeah, and I think it is very easy to get used to piles and to sort of, your eye just sort of glazes over them after a while.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you stop seeing them.
Yeah, so I think that's a big part of it is you just sort of get used to them as the landscape of your house. We've talked before about part of keeping your house somewhat tidy is also knowing when things need to be cleaned, like visually, like that you have a hardwood floor and it has all kinds of different shapes and colors because it's wood, but you know the difference between what's supposed to be there and what's not supposed to be there. Like, you know which bits are things to vacuum up and which are just part of the wood grain. And I feel similarly with just like piles and stuff around your house, like, you know when things are supposed to be there or not. I also do tend to think that people think of paper as clean, like the paper doesn't doesn't smell, or it's not like dishes, right? If you have dishes sitting on your kitchen counter or on your end table for days on end, like, that's going to be a problem. But a lot of people will think of paper as like, well, it's not like food waste, so it's but paper can really trap smells, and it can really trap like dust and pet dander. And so, the longer you leave things stacked. And by the way, though, this is fully like people in glass houses, because I am also a person with an aggressive case of ADHD and poor executive functioning. And I have a stack of mail that someday I will open that I just don't. So I'm not good at this either.
I'm trying. There's a little space behind my chair down here, which is actually in good shape right now because I finally just went through it. But, like, even me, I try to stay on top of things, but it's like, well, this is something I need to deal with later. This is maybe a medical bill that I need to pay, or, and so I put it in there. Or it's like, well, this is just something I need to file. But I need to
on paper, but, like, I'm going to just do it online. But
and I find...
I need to keep it.
But then it's just, but the reason it's there is because there's not an easy place to put this stuff right away. Some of it you just have to hang on to long enough before you can throw it away. And just the other night, it was like literally a Saturday night, I think, and for absolutely no good reason, I decided, screw this pile. I need to go through it right now. And it involved me even like kind of emailing my business partner, John, and being like, hey, here's this thing that it just like, it forced me to like just take action on a bunch of things. And I got it down to two things, which is the ballot, which... we're recording this a little bit early, but the ballot that I need to fill out and mail tomorrow. And then sadly, you're going to be mad.
Tomorrow. Don't go to a ballot box tomorrow.
No. I mean, drop it off.
Okay.
I don't mail it. I have a little tradition.
Okay.
We're recording this the day before Election Day. I will walk it over to the North Seattle Community College box. I always like it. I always try to make a point, if possible, to actually walk there. It's probably about, I don't know, 3/4 of a mile from here or something. But there's something about taking a walk on Election Day, never knowing exactly what you're going to find out the next day or whatever. Like, I don't know. It's just part of a tradition for me to walk to the ballot box on Election Day. The thing that you're going to be mad at me about, though, is I didn't fill out any of my democracy vouchers this year. But when I went to do it a few weeks ago, Katie Wilson had already filled, like, all of the causes and candidates that I cared about had already maxed out on them. So I didn't feel like I left too much on the table. So I'm throwing that away now. Now my pile is down to the ballot, which I'll take care of tomorrow, and this empty Maxell VHS tape cover. I just got to finish digitizing that thing, and then the pile will be no more. Okay, another thing that clean people who aren't messy never do, but always remember not to do, is overfill their spaces, and this is a big one for me, basically keep things from being too cluttered. If an uncluttered home will always appear to be a cleaner home, then it is imperative that things have a place where they belong and fit into properly. Hoarding too many extra things, whether clothing or home items, it will instantly overwhelm your space. That's a big one for me. I don't like a cluttered home.
Yeah, I think that's a big one as well. I think there's a difference between, like, obviously decoration or, like, how, you know, things that are seasonal or things that you just like to have around. But I think being conscientious about what you have and, like, what your sort of curated objects are can help your house look tidier for sure, especially if it's sort of thoughtful. I think that's what people kind of tend to notice. It also is, again, it's that thing where if I'm, you know, say I'm vacuuming and I notice that, like, my end table has kind of a lot of odds and ends on it, I know what's supposed to be there and what's not, so I know what to kind of pick up quickly. And when you have also, systems, little dishes for keys and odds and ends, so at least it has a place to go. Containers, jars for your change, you know, whatever. Having a place to put all the little things that keeps them together is takes the edge off, I think, in a really big way too.
The last one is less esoteric, I think. Do you want to take one last stab at guessing?
Okay,
Then we'll put this to bed.
We got, we had no paper piles, smell check. We had, what else was it?
Clutter was the last one, I think, or overfilling. Let's see, organization. Oh, I see. That's just a subheading. The last one.
What's the last one?
Leave clean laundry sitting around.
Well,
that's a no-no.
That's a tough one. I mean,
yeah.
How long, when do we consider it lying around? You know, like, because, yes, right, if you've washed and dried your clothes and then you dump them on the couch and you just leave them on the couch, that's fine. Like, no judgment. But your house is always going to look a little disastrous because you're going to have the mismatch of laundry on the couch, right? That just is, that's a thing. And some people are fine with that, and that's part of their system, and that's where they go get their clean clothes from. However, if putting away clean laundry is very challenging for you, I would ask what it is that you are, how are you putting it away? What are your laundry storage systems like? Because
what makes it so onerous?
Right. Do you have too much stuff? Are your drawers really crowded? And in which case, can you go through and donate some stuff and make some space so that when you are putting away your clean laundry, it nests nicely in the drawers? Do you not have enough hangers? Do you not have enough closet space? Is it just that you hate doing it? At which point I would suggest reward bundling. Find something you do like to do that you can do at the same time.
Yes.
Is there somebody else in your household that you can get involved with this? Can you get your kids to help you put away laundry? Like that kind of thing. How can you work it into your schedule? But I know for me, like the times when it's been hardest for me to put my laundry away it's because I have bad laundry storage or like clothing storage solutions. And it's easier to just leave it on a chair or on the dresser, you know.
For me, for what it's worth, it's about a 12-hour max, I would say. So I could see myself doing some laundry at night and then taking the basket of clothes, or just a big, awkward armful of clothes, from the dryer, they're clean now, downstairs to the couch and throwing it on the couch and then thinking, okay, I'm going to sit down and watch some dumb show for a little bit and fold this laundry. But sometimes you get distracted and you're like, well, I'd rather actually go play darts or something like that. But I am not comfortable with it just sitting there. Like it's an irritant to me to have a pile of messy but clean clothes there. But there's a chance that maybe I go to bed before I do it that night, but I'm not going to let it sit there all day. Like, this is also where I work. I'm not going to be passing as I come and go from my office, a thing of like socks and underwear. Like, there's just something so, even though nobody is going to be over here, it just seems so unbecoming to me. And so that's just my own thing. So I don't think I'm ever going to let it go probably more than 12 hours, certainly not 24 hours. I think that would be certainly the cutoff, maybe on a weekend or something. Now, Hannah, This is important. I thought we were going to go over that list. I thought it was going to be 5-10 minutes long.
No.
It ended up being almost an hour. So that might be. But now I'm in. So maybe we'll continue, folks, to send in your stories about cleaning, things related to your occupation. I'm not even going to open that today, I don't think. But we can continue to collect those things and share them later. I do have an email I will share here that is a follow-up to last week's topic. But before we get into that, I'm now in the world of Southern Living magazine, Hannah, and I'm seeing headlines like this. This controversial 1990s beauty trend might be coming back, comma, and we're scared. This is also by Caitlin Yarborough, who wrote the article we just went through. It was just published a couple of days ago, and I will give you a hint. Again, this controversial 1990s beauty trend might be coming back, and we're scared. And I will give you one hint. It is illustrated with a photo of Drew Barrymore in 1998. The kind of classic look she had where she had the little daisies in her hair, but the trend is not daisies in your hair.
Is it little skinny eyebrows?
My God, you're good at this. How did you know that?
Because, sorry, Lola. Lola hates it when I clap. She
Yeah.
does
Oh,
not
is that what
enjoy
it was?
applause, generally speaking. I knew this because, one, tiny brows in the 90s were very big. Two, because people younger than I, which is many people, are rediscovering all kinds of old time. It was either that or it was going to be ultra low rise jeans, but those have already sort of started thinking about coming back. Low rise jeans in general are coming back, but oh my God, okay, I like turned into a pillar of dust the other day when I was just like doing a scroll because a girl was doing a video where she was talking about how she had found some, I think she called them culturally accurate or period appropriate low-rise jeans that were like that. Basically, jeans that were actually from like the early 2000s.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, yeah, things I wore.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she was so scandalized by how actually low they were. And it's like, yes, because today's low-rise jeans, quote unquote, are just kind of regular. They're not the ones that from like the middle 2000s where the zipper is literally an inch long. But yeah,
see, I don't know enough about that. Like, yeah, the
really,
whole thing
you're
for
not
me,
a low-rise jeans guy. I'm
shocked. I'm not, but also like the things that even if I paid attention to them at all would have been stuff that was the 90s trends that came back. I am surprised that like when the Doc Martens thing came back, I was like, oh, this is awesome. I love that era. It really has stuck around, I will say, because it is a kind of a versatile and relatively comfortable look, I feel like, because that's been back for a while now. But
yeah, there's a lot of looks that I didn't think I would see boomerang around quite so quickly in my lifetime. I did not think I would see young people in literal Jinko jeans.
Yeah.
The likes of
although
which
I do
wore.
like the more stepped up version of like kind of would you just call them like wide straight legged pants, which are probably now at the near the end of that trend, but just like even like, you know, like kind of professional looking pants or whatever, like that look of like a straight wide, I thought that was really cool. That was one of my favorite like kind of modern trends. Okay, let's try this one. This uncool 2000s hair trend is back, but Southern women never stopped doing it. This is once again by Caitlin Yarborough, who might write everything for Southern Living magazine these days.
She is Southern Living. Let me think. Okay, it's either going to be chunky highlights or like a shag, like a Rachel haircut.
It is a side part.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay. Yeah, no. Side part is, that's not a... Duh. I'm sorry. Women in the South do not have the majority on side parts.
It says Southern women never stop doing it. Okay,
A
we're
lot
going to
of
get
us
out of this.
I think I wrote for Southern Living. I think way back in the day I actually had a piece landed in Southern Living at one point many, many years ago, but I bet it's not even online anymore because unlike what I was told as a youth where things on the internet are forever, in fact, like half of my clips no longer exist on the internet. So
only the stuff you're not proud of lives forever. Not this. I tried doing a little quick Google. I'm finding a whole bunch of stuff you've written in various kinds of collections on like Muck Rack and South Seattle Emerald and Real Change and all of this stuff. And the first thing that popped up actually was your about page for your own personal website. But I will stop
I'm
that.
good at SEO. But yeah,
Good for you.
Listen, I've been writing, online for almost 20 years at this point. And yeah, there's quite a bit. I mean, there's whole websites I used to write for very regularly that no longer exist. And there's just years of my work that is not online anywhere to be found.
Not
it's
even
wild.
online.
Truly written in water. But yeah, Southern Living.
There you go.
I love it.
Can we wrap things up here? Let's get back to our scrub jockeys, because I do feel that I have not, other than Nancy, who gets an associate producer credit for sending in that Southern Living article, we haven't read any emails or heard any voicemails. So we will do this, and it again ends the show on a somewhat serious note, but it was a topic that I brought up that we've been exploring quite a bit on the show recently, which is kind of coping with both grief but also stuff when somebody close to you passes away. And we talked a lot about it on the last show that we did. It was a really great show to hear from everybody weighing in. And I forgot or ran out of time to include Anne's email, who says, my dad passed last July, and we had a really interesting time going through his things. My poor mom had to figure out how this incredibly type A man set up his desk. He had saved every bill, canceled check, bank statement from the past 20 years. He also was a stickler for having good quality clothing, which fortunately we were able to donate to a great place. Nice. My husband just cleaned out his late mom's place at an assisted living facility, and it was overwhelming for him and his siblings. And I am right now sitting in my mom's house because she was released from the hospital yesterday. I'm looking around, and she has so much stuff. We keep encouraging her to clean things out, but she just can't, and I dread the time when we need to go through it all. She keeps things for emotional reasons. She has drawings and cards for my siblings and me, as well as her grandchildren. She just can't let go of anything. I'm sorry to prattle on, but the subject hits so very close to home, and for what it's worth, I'm in my early 60s and have been actively getting rid of stuff for a couple of years. I refuse to put my daughter through this. So several different experiences there, but definitely an interesting and serious perspective.
Yeah, I think the experience of going through it is the thing that will most change your own behavior as you live out the rest of your own life. Like once you've gone through it, then you realize how much you want to save other people from going through it.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And I do wonder if maybe we'll see, I don't know, man. It's hard to say what's going on in America and what's going on in Americans' brains these days. Really? But I do wonder generationally if we see younger generations, maybe my generation or a bit younger. You're a millennial. Maybe that's like a better, you're a millennial, right? I'm okay in saying that. Maybe that's a better example of like that generation maybe creating different habits because of the reality of having to go through the stuff of our parents. The reason I paused there was because I just don't remember it being that big of a conversation when my grandma and grandpa died. I'm talking about my dad's parents, and I think my grandfather died maybe within 2 years of my grandma. And I know that he ended up living his last days in a facility of some sort, a care facility of some sort. But I just don't remember it being as big of a deal about stuff. And I think the reason I'm bringing that up is, first of all, my dad's got 4 siblings, so that's many hands make light work. But I also do think that our parents' generation, I'm going to try to paraphrase you from last show, maybe got into more accumulative habits over time than my grandparents' generation. Not that my grandparents didn't enjoy buying things and didn't have a rich, full life and a rich, full home, but there might have been something that started more with our parents' generations that was a lot more consumer-centric. Possibly. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, if we look at like consumer trends from the 70s and certainly into the 80s, like the idea of just buying more stuff and like that buying things was a way of demonstrating your success, and then buying things that you didn't necessarily need, but hanging on to it. I think also, again, if you look back multiple generations and you see people who had like Depression era parents who were very stingy and did not buy things, but did hang on to everything.
Yeah.
And they sort of, again, it's like that kind of boomeranging back and forth. But I think once you've spent a lot of time with somebody else's shit and you're just like, oh my God, you could have handled this so much better than I'm handling it now. Like, why? Then it does really sink in that, we could all be doing more for the next generation as far as that kind of thing is concerned.
Yeah, I'm interested. Well, Anne sort of mentioned it in her email, but I'm wondering if we also have listeners who, not to like put ourselves in the center of this, but I wonder if we have any listeners who've been listening to the past several shows and are actually thinking, you know what? I need to go in that closet and start throwing some stuff away. Whether it's just the embarrassment of old notebooks, like I said, that freeing feeling I had when I finally just one night spent my last night with my college notebooks and then threw them away one by one. And I spent my last time with them, but I felt such a sense of relief once they were finally gone. I'm like, no future generation, mine or others, will ever come across the terrible poetry that I was writing while high on Dramamine one night at Kent State University.
I know. I think going through and deciding what you would really want someone to see and remember you with can be a very big moment and can be very freeing. You're right.
Yeah. All right. Well, Hannah, I need a favor from you really briefly here. You know how I like to keep things really smooth on this show so that you can't leave any bloopers in or anything. Well, the little device that I used to play our outro sounds was just charging up, and so I need to get it ready here for the end of the show. So can you bring us to the end? Do you want some music here while I get this thing queued up?
There you go. Sure. Thank you for listening. We will be back in a couple of weeks, and we'll be continuing to talk about occupational cleaning, things you might have specifically cleaned depending on what your work was. You know, we've heard from people who worked in a church and had to clean up wax off a carpet. We've heard, of course, from tattoo artists. Just any old kind of thing that you maybe had a specific item you had to clean or cleaning material that you use that might be unusual. We want to hear about all of that.
We want to hear about it. That reminds me, actually. Do you remember a while back, this would sort of fit the topic, although we talked about it years ago, was it our friend, I think it might have been our friend Anna, but somebody had written in who said, like, something about she was a dancer, and, like, there was stuff on a dance stage that they had to figure out to clean up for. Was that wax as well or something?
And it was because it was a... what do they call it? It was a dance performance.
So it was a burlesque or something like that. Yes, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you for covering for me there. That was good. Yeah. So we have an old-timey radio guy who I just plugged into my audio board, who's going to tell you how you can get a hold of us on those stories. And we'll have that and more on next week's show, because apparently I am really bad at estimating how long a segment is going to take.
This day has just been... The fact that we made a show at all today is pretty impressive. So
it's been a weird one,
listeners.
Well, and also thank you, Hannah, so much for putting up with all of my bullshit today. I do appreciate it. Everybody, we will talk to you in a couple of weeks. All right, come on, old-timey radio guy. Come on, do it.
You've been listening to the Spotless Podcast. If you have a question for Hannah and Andrew or some cleaning advice, call the Spotline at 508-HOW-WASH. That's 508-469-9274. You can also email them at spotlesspod@gmail.com. We'll be back soon. But until then, always remember, life is messy, but it doesn't have to be.